What's up, Bombshells? Welcome to Bombshell 1111 Podcast, Therapy for Women of Color. My name is Kia, and I'm your host. Generally, podcasts request donations, but I want you to show love by simply subscribing to my social media platforms by visiting my website at www.bombshell1111podcast.com. I want to see thousands of subscribers on this platform. Leave your comments and I'll show love by shouting you out on my social media platforms such as Instagram and Facebook. I want to thank you for your continued support as always. And with that being said, let's jump into this new episode.
Hey, it's Clarissa here, and I'm here to drop some bombshell gems about leadership and helping you get what you want.
Welcome back, Bombshells. I'm Kia, and I'm your host. Tonight, you guys will be talking about leadership development with our special guest, Clarissa. So without further ado, Bombshells, let's get into it. Welcome, Clarissa. How are you?
I'm doing great, Kia. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming on and being part of the podcast. I'm so happy that you can come on and share your knowledge and tools with the listening audience. So again, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
So let's get right into it. So there will be a description down below about who you are, your bio, things like that. But I always like for the guests to come on and give a short description of who you are, what you do, and your expertise. So, Clarissa, give us a short description about who you are, what you do.
Thanks, Kia. I'm a multi-passionate creative entrepreneur, and you might hear my voice kind of sound a little bit strained, and that's because I'm currently working through a vocal condition called spasmodic dysphonia. I'm totally okay though. And my mission in life is really to help people see new possibilities, especially for my creatives and for my people in midlife and beyond.
Thank you for that, Clarissa. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. So for those who don't know or don't have an understanding of exactly what it is, what is leadership development?
So the way that I like to look at it is you are a leader when you influence other people, when you might have a team, or just being the best version of yourself. So that is truly how I see the word leader. And leadership development is simply developing the skills to honestly just be the best version of yourself that you can be, whether you're in an organization, whether you work for yourself, or even if you're a stay-at-home mom. You have a role as a leader in your life. You are the leader of your life.
And so, Clarissa, there are many different types of leadership. Can you talk about a few?
Yes. So there's depending on what you do, there are what I'm going to call authoritative leaders. And if you think about the military, for example, they have very specific processes, procedures, that must be followed. So that is one type of leadership where it is very much a hierarchy, and I'm just going to say, for lack of a better word, a bit of a command and control, because that is just the nature of that business. And then there's other types of leadership, which, like another one, is called charismatic leadership. And these are the people that have that vivacious personality, that are those people who really outside the box. Think about Richard Branson or Virgin Airlines. Think about Steve Jobs of Apple. And those are people who you just kind of want to be around and gravitate to. So that's another type of leadership. The last one that I want to talk about is servant leadership. And what I mean by that is there are leaders and organizations who truly believe that their purpose is to serve the team, serve their community. And those leaders tend to be highly collaborative. They're still likely the ones to make the final decisions, but they take into account the people around them a lot more.
And so, people, they tend to always have or tend to say that there's particular things or certain specific traits that make a good leader. But from your expertise and your work experience, what skills are needed or what makes a good leader?
That's such a great question. And I'll give just a few. There's so many, but I think a great leader has a vision. They are the ones that are pulling their team forward or pulling, even if you're a entrepreneur who's working by yourself right now, you have a vision that you want to execute. So they're visionary. That's one thing. And I would say the second thing that they are is that they're empathetic. They understand different types of people. They understand how people connect with each other. And they know that, not everybody is like them. And they're able to adapt and to take in input from other people. And they're able to surround themselves successfully with people who don't think like them, because that helps minimize blind spots. And I'd say a third trait or characteristic of a great leader is somebody who is decisive. Because I don't know if you ever worked with someone who just takes forever to approve something or make a decision. Those are the types of bosses. Personally, I don't want to be on their team because nothing gets done. So good leaders are also very decisive.
So, what are the benefits of leadership development? And why should we invest in leadership development?
I think it's really important because no matter what you want to do in this world, it's going to, especially if you have a big mission and you're heart-centered, it's going to take a lot out of you to have that courage to continue to move forward with your vision. And by owning your leadership skills, you're also planting the seeds to welcome people to collaborate with you and work with you to help bring your vision forward. And again, whether you're working as an entrepreneur or somebody in an organization. And it's funny. I have a funny statistic to share. So when you ask people if they're self-aware, 95% of people will say, oh yeah, I'm totally self-aware. But the reality is, the research shows that really only about 15 to 20% of people are truly self-aware. So why does this matter? Well, when you're in a leadership role, it is, important to really know yourself. And, many of us walk around with a little bit of blinders of how we see ourselves. And by developing your leadership skills, you're also building your self-awareness. You're reducing your blind spots and just ensuring that, you're going about about your work in the most productive way, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So, Clarissa, what is an effective way to develop leaders, in your opinion? And then, as you talk about that, tell us more about how you do this specific thing with your 5-step framework.
Okay, great question. So, I think a great way to develop your leadership skills is to work with a mentor or a coach. And I say this because that person can be not only your cheerleader, but can also be a great neutral sounding board and somebody who's going to give you feedback to help your growth and development. And this is something that I love to do with my clients. And I have a 5-step framework, which I call the Painting Your Path framework, and it's great for leadership. So the first step in that is to dream. And I think this is a powerful tool that as adults, we don't do this enough. But as you're developing your leadership skills, it's really important to take the time to envision yourself as that person that you're striving to become. What does that look like? How are you acting? How are you behaving? How are you being? What kind of qualities do you want to hone in for yourself? So it starts with that dream. The second step is to decide. Decide that your vision to be the best leader that you can be is possible. You have to believe it. The third step is to plan. And this is where coaching and mentoring comes in handy. Your coach can help craft a roadmap to help you develop your skills and give you different assignments to grow and stretch. Whether that's maybe delivering a short presentation, maybe it's making a request of somebody that you're kind of nervous to connect with, or some other kind of activity to help move you forward. So that step 3 is to have that plan. Step 4 is to be brave. And this is where the rubber meets the road and you take action on that plan. And the last step is reflect. It's critical to take the time after you've taken some action to ask yourself, hey, is what I'm doing working? What's working well? What's not working so well? And I think more importantly is, what are you learning about yourself? And working with a coach, they will give you that constructive feedback that is needed to help develop your leadership muscle. And at the foundation of these 5 steps, I have two other pieces. The first one is self-care. Because I don't know about you, but I can be so hard on myself, and I can just really go and burn myself out, which is partly why I have this vocal condition.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so important to have some kind of self-care plan so you don't overdo it. And the second piece is to adapt that growth mindset, which basically says with enough time, effort, and appropriate feedback, you can do anything that you put your heart and mind to. So that is my framework in a nutshell.
And so, Clarissa, how do you work with individuals? Are you working with them in person? Is this virtual? How does one get connected for services?
Yes. So I live in Los Angeles. So if you're in the Los Angeles area, I have met with people in person, but I also take clients one-on-one, and I also offer group sessions online. So those are the different ways that you can work with me.
So, Clarissa, is there anything you feel that I missed that you'd like to share with the listening audience?
I would just like to share, if whatever you can perceive in your mind, you can absolutely make a reality. So keep going after your dreams. And if leadership is something that is on your heart, do something about it. Take an action step to move towards that vision for yourself.
Thank you for that. And Clarissa, how can the listening audience get connected to you? What are your social media handles?
You can tune into my podcast, which is called Painting Your Path. And Kia, you're going to be a future guest on it. Woo-hoo. And you can also find me on Instagram at dr.clarissa Castillo-Ramsey.
And so, Clarissa, before we head out of here again tonight, do you feel as if there's anything else you'd like to share with the listening audience?
Just to believe in yourself. No matter what is happening, I've got this vocal condition and I'm not letting it stop me. And I'm also not saying burn yourself out. So please don't hear that. But if there is something you are passionate about, it is your moral obligation to share it with the world.
Thank you for that. Thank you for listening, you guys. And Clarissa, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of the podcast. I'm so happy that you came on and shared your knowledge and tools with the listening audience. Thank you so much for that.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure.
And so, you guys, that brings us to the end of this episode. Thanks to Clarissa for joining. We hope that you were able to hear something that was beneficial to you. And with that being said, thanks for listening. And always remember, you are a bomb within your own shell. Peace, love, and light. Until next time, good night. If you enjoyed this podcast, please make sure you subscribe so you're notified when a new episode is posted. Rate, review, and share this podcast with your family and friends. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're leaving with some valuable information that can help you on your personal journey. Also, check us out on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram at Bombshell1111 or at Bombshell1111 TV. You can also check out our mental health page, Your Health is Your Wealth, on Facebook, which is a page created to inform and support individuals with mental health and other health conditions. And with that being said, always remember, you guys, you are a bomb within your own shell. And until next time, peace, love, and light.